Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another office hours for the first store beta. My name is Victor, and I'm a software engineer here at VTEX, and I'll also be your host today. Just one thing, if you're surprised that this is in English, this is something that we're trying out. We're alternating between English and Portuguese every other week. So this week we're doing it in English, and next week it will be in Portuguese. Okay? So that out of the way, let's get started. And the first up, we got the announcement section. And this is the section where we bring you the latest news and the updates on what we've been working on. And today we actually gonna have something a bit different. It's not a release notes, and you is actually gonna be the one that's gonna tell you all about it.
Hey guys, hey Victor, thanks for the introduction. Um, my name is Juliana and I'm a product designer at VTEX. I'm here to say that we want to hear from you. We have two feedback forms at the moment. The first one is a satisfaction form, and it will help us understand your perception about fast start learning materials. It only takes 2 minutes to answer, and the second one is about the experience survey. It's going to help us learn about your overall experience with Pastor and your perception of it as a product. It takes about 10 minutes to answer, and both will be available until 11th of March. They are only in Portuguese so far, but in the future, we want to as once we increase our user base, we start doing it in other languages as well. And yeah, that's it. You can help us shape the future of e-commerce solutions with your participation. So please don't hesitate giving us feedback. And that's it. I hope you have fun today. And back to you, Victor.
Awesome, thanks you. Yeah, this is just want to reinforce that everyone, please try to give us some feedback and do like actually take the time to write it and give us tell us what you're thinking, because in these early stages, like as you know, we're in the beta and the things are pretty new and things are changing pretty fast. So every bit of feedback that you give us is helpful and helps us to it basically helps us to make the product as closest as we can get to what you actually want to use. So that's it. Please leave us some feedback. And just another reminder that if you want to keep up with everything that we're releasing, mostly our release notes and everything that we are working on, please check out the you can go straight to the source and you can just check faststart.dev/releases, and you will always find there the latest updates. Okay, awesome. So this is the now we head on to the second section, and this is the Ask the Community section. This section is all about community. So this is where we bring some of the questions that you asked us on VTEX Community. We select a few of them and bring here to give you some more in-depth answers and go over what and try to help as many of you as we can. Okay, so let's start it with the first question. It's from Lucas. He's from Group Soma. So shout out to Group Soma. And it's a question about schema.org. I think this one is for George.
Hey, Victor. Thanks for joining me today. And thanks for the question, Lucas. So Lucas was wondering about our use of schema.org, right? Schema.org is what defines the types in our API, and we're trying to follow their standards. So he wanted to extend the order form, and he was wondering how that works when we talk about the cart. For now, we don't have any documentation about this process, but one of our lead software engineers here, Jimenez, shared that basically we're following schema.org's extensibility guidelines. He shared the link, and the link itself looks a little bit undetailed, but it's just like the general idea that schema.org has been following, like what they were doing before and what they're doing now. So you actually have to go through each one of those links to understand. If you go into this last one, for instance, you're able to see all classes, for instance, and you'll see things like brand and beverage and country and so on. We're going to have to go a little bit deeper into this to go into the actual problem Lucas was pointing out. But I guess the overarching information that we want to share here is that, there's a lot of stuff about schema.org and we're not reinventing the wheel. So anything that you're in doubt about, you can definitely refer to their documentation. And if you're not sure, please give us the objective example, right? So in this case, Lucas, if you could share what exactly you want to add to the cart, maybe we can help you find the right alternative. One thing that we had a bit of discussion about, right, Vito, is they didn't have an SKU entity for schema.org, so we had to look into it, and we found out there was this is variant kind of thing, right? And do you remember that, Vito?
I think so. It was a while ago, but I do think I remember. Yes, because they don't have everything, right? But the good thing is that it's a joint effort between multiple companies, right? So
yeah,
it's a nice.
It's very complete, but we need to find our way through their docs and figure it out. Yeah. Maybe it won't be obvious, but yeah, we definitely can work on it together. So Lucas, if you want to follow up with how exactly you want to extend the order form, that would help us a little bit more. Just the only answer we can give that's so generic is follow schema.org's explanations. But yeah, for the second question, that's with me. I'll go ahead and get it right off the way. So Bruno from Agência Plus, thank you for your question. He's been doing a lot of great work with the Mies store, and he noticed that the latest update for FastStore API, for gatsby-source-store, our plugin to source data from our APIs, started throwing an error. You can't list collections because of a slug error. And this got us to an interesting discussion. Looking into it, Jimenez found out that this is actually a pretty common error. Some slugs are incompatible between the slugify function that Gatsby uses and our catalog. So special characters like the one João Pedro found, like the commercial and sign, would default to, for instance, converting to a hyphen, just like this single quote, and that would generate some issues. Right now, we're not looking into fixing this, so Bruno said that he would revert to an older version of Gatsby source-store until we were able to prioritize it, because the other version didn't have that error. But the expectation is that once we're ready to move to Gatsby 4, they'll give us a little bit more flexibility in how we define slugs and how we can connect, the differences between what is generated by our catalog and what is generated by the slugify function. But these are things that come up, right? And that's why it's really important for you to send us our feedback on what's important and what's getting in the way. Because in this case, Bruno mentioned there's a brand, and this brand has a single quote, and I can't just change the name in the catalog, right, for this brand. So while there's no workaround that's official, we call upon you to be on the field, giving us that feedback, and also look into the documentation. Just like we're talking about schema.org, the things we're doing with Gatsby are the same. You'll find the same issues if you're using Gatsby anyway, outside of VTEX, right? So definitely something we want to look at. We understand and recognize it's an issue, but we need to keep working on some other things before we can prioritize that. I think that's what I have for today, Vito.
Awesome, great. Thanks, George. I know that you'll still be here. But yeah, the next question is actually, I'm going to be the one tackling this. And actually, it's kind of funny because I looked at this and I was like, oh, okay, how to create different templates for categories and departments. And by the way, this is from Romulo from Corbis. So shout out to Corbis. And thanks for the question. And the basic idea is, okay, how can I show like a different type of page for departments and for categories, right? And I thought, well, yes, I mean, you can do this. You can create different pages because you have control over all of the routes that are being rendered on your website, right? That's one of the key advantages of developing in Fastor. That like all the code is with you, right? So you can kind of tweak the routing and do whatever you want. Anyway, so I was trying to do this. I'm actually gonna share and show you what I was working on. Let me quickly do this. Okay. I think this is fine. I'm also going to hide this. And there we go. So I was working on something. So here we have the fast store, right? The base store, right? Oh, it's probably too small for you, right? This should make it a bit better. So what we have here is what I was trying to do is make this kind of route work, right? Like office/desks. This currently works, but you can see I added this bit of text here. This is a category page, right? And this is dynamic. Like if I go to the office, like /office, it's gonna tell me, oh, this is a department page. Okay. So what the question was about was like, okay, and can I show a different page and for like for a department and for a category? There are a few ways to do this. Like if I can render this information out, like this is a department page and this is a category page. This means that I do have access to this information inside of the template for the page that is being rendered, right? So when I go here, office and office/desks, I'm rendering this page, store collection.slug. Here I have this index.tsx. In your store, you might just have store collection.slug.tsx. I just turned this into a folder because I was testing my other solution, but it doesn't make much of a difference, right? Okay, so here, this is the page that I'm rendering here, and for example, let's say you want to render different pages for a department and for a category because you want to, I don't know, change how this header looks. So it's just one component, but you can basically use the same page, right? But there is one component that's different. You actually have this information right here in the site because the collection query that we execute, this store collection query, has this type. This was not here before. Okay, so like if you just clone the base store and do this, you will get like this. And then if you just go here and add the type, and I know that this exists because I looked into the here at Graphical. Okay, so to get to here, you pretty much go to localhost 8000 where your store is, but then you would go to /_graphical. Your terminal will tell you this as well. My terminal has a lot of things right now, but it's gonna tell you, so you know where to go. But it's very likely to be localhost 8000 and Graphical if you didn't change anything. Okay, so just add in the type here, and then I could this information will come back to me here in the collection, right? This is data. This is what the GraphQL query defined down below will return to me. And then I have this collection view. The types are already updated here, so I can see that collection has a type, and this type is store collection type. I know that store collection type is a string because I'm looking at it right here. Actually, it's not a string. Like it's a string, but it has certain values. It's kind of a enum. Okay. So for example, this can be department, category, brand, or cluster. So if you want to do some crazy logic with this, you can just go here and say like, oh, if type equals, and TypeScript should let me do this as well. If this is category, oh yeah, of course. correction type. Okay, I have to check for, okay, categories like this. To get this nice autocomplete, I'm using VS Code, so I just had to hit control and control space. If you hit control space on VS Code, it's gonna like open this autocomplete pop-up. So when you have no idea what to type, you can just hit that and it will try to help you. Okay, and then I can do something different here. Like, I don't know, if this is a category page, just return a div with this is a category page. I don't know if Gatsby is gonna let me do this. Like, if TypeScript is happy, it's probably letting me know that this can be undefined, right? Yes, it's probably in the word undefined. No problem. Just do this. Yeah, my computer is a bit slow, but there you can see. And then if I go into here, this is a category page, right? If I refresh this, I don't know if things are gonna break.
That's okay. If things break, we're learning together.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
need to have something installed for that autocomplete to work, like TypeScript, IntelliSense, or something like that?
Yeah, that's the nice part about using VS Code. Like, you don't need anything, like, because VS Code works out of the box with TypeScript, and it has actually a very good TypeScript engine. And by the way, just a curiosity, it is made with TypeScript.
Right.
Yeah. So no, it just works out of the box. Like, this will work with any, and I'm pretty sure it also works with other languages. Like, if you're using, like, say, C++, if VS Code can understand your code and like read the classes and everything, you can use control space, and it's gonna open up that thing.
Very nice.
Oh, and it actually worked. Like, this is a category page. So for this, and I did this with like a simple if, and then just getting the type from the collection. Okay, so this is one example. This is probably the simplest thing you can do, but you're still rendering the same template. Okay, but just for you're just changing its content based on the type of the page. Okay, but then one thing that what I was actually trying to do before the office hours started, I just didn't have enough time to get it to work. Is I'm basing myself on this file system route API. This is actually what we use on our, like, to name our files in Gatsby, so that Gatsby can help us during the build and everything, right? This is why you see, for example, this, like, this strange file name, right? This is not even a file; it's a folder, right? But it kind of looks strange, right? It's like curly braces store product.slug. So this is a variable, and then we have p. This pretty much, like, this p.tsx will render all product pages. Okay, so our PDPs. Why? Because when you go to, like, when you navigate to it on your browser, it's gonna match this route. Like, it's gonna take, oh, okay, store product.slug. This is a variable, and then /p. If you go to that to like a slug of the product /p, it's gonna render the product page like this one. I'm trying to do exactly the same thing with the store collection. And I might be off by something, like I'm probably accessing the wrong, like the wrong property inside of the type store collection. That's why my results are not as good as I expected. I'm going to show you what's happening right now. For example, every time you go to something like /office or pretty much the name of I can go here as well, like office. Pretty much you're getting a department page. okay? And the same thing can happen for brand pages. One nice trick that you can have is like just type anything here and Gatsby will throw 404 and you can see all of the available routes, all of the routes that are already built, right? So you can see everything that it's matching. So for example, since I did this store collection.seo underline title, which means I'm trying to match the title inside the SEO property inside the store collection type. It generated it didn't work as I was expected because, for example, here I have this page like office/office. This is not what I was expecting to render, right? But this matched this, and this should always be category, and this is not a category. This is still a department page, right? And then if I actually go to a page that was supposed to be a category page, for example, /office/desks, that's a category. And then I have to go to /desks again to actually access the category page. So this template that I'm using right here. So there's probably some detail, like probably this .seo underline title is not the way to go. I'm just like, I was just trying something that I based on graphical here. So I would encourage you to try to find what would be like a better alternative here. What should be the property to base this off. And I'm just like, this works. This makes sense to me because I'm reading this. So the file system route API, okay? Here you can see, you can try out a bunch of things. Like this is the way to do dynamic URL segments using curly braces. But then there's another use cases. For example, if you want to do something client side, you wouldn't use curly braces. You would use square brackets. Here you go, creating client only routes. So you would use square brackets. And then as you know, like in most frameworks, right, you can define routes like, oh, users and then ID. And then this ID is a variable that you will have access to inside of your code. This is exactly the same thing here with Gatsby, okay? I just didn't have enough time to try out a few more things here. But I guess this is like the general direction that you should follow. And you should be able to do this. Like you can have different category pages and different department pages because, again, we're not doing anything magical. Like I'm also only going through this hassle, this trial and error, because I was lazy and I didn't want to extend the schema from Store API, right? Like from Fast Store API. Sorry, you guys in your use case, you might just create a new query that returns exactly what you want, like exactly the product categories, and then this becomes much easier. Like you don't have to match this exact type, like store collection. You could have a store category and then match with something different. You can completely change how you handle routes as well. Like you can, the same way that we do, every product page has a /p at the end. You can do like, I don't know, every category page has a /c in the end, or /c first. For example, for search pages, currently what we do is like, I don't know, if I search shoes, we always prepend this. Oh, this is the this is the wrong input. Sorry, if you're not from Brazil, we're just coming back from like a very big holiday, and things are kind of slow. But we're getting back to it. You see that we always prefix this with /s/ and then something. But I mean, you can do whatever you want with that. Okay, so you have complete control over how your routes look, and that's one of the advantages again from moving to FastStore and using something that's from the community like Gatsby. We don't mess with how Gatsby creates the routes and how you can manage your routes. You have complete freedom. Okay, so that's why even though I couldn't make it work 100% here. I have full confidence that yes, the answer is yes. You can create, you can have department pages and collection page and not collection, department pages and category pages and brand pages because you have access to that information. And if you don't, you can just extend the FastStore API, but I do know you do. And you can create the routing as you like. Okay. We have, of course, we have some fixed ones like account because this is a special route, checkout, login, but everything apart from this, like you have the control. Okay. I to be honest, I think I'm gonna try to make this work, trying out different solutions and everything. I also encourage you guys to try it out. Try going this way that I described, see if it works for you. Maybe this is not the way to go, like keeping the store collection.slug, maybe going for a completely different solution. But if you also don't want to go to do this, like using the rendering different templates, you can do the way that I showed before. Like you can just query for the page type and then render completely different pages if you want. Okay, just be careful with performance because, well, you would probably want to dynamically import those pages because, well, it's not good to bring the code for like two completely different pages into a single entry point, right? So be wary of that. But I guess that's it for now. That's all I had to show you guys. George has something to comment. Maybe ask something. I know I've just been speaking a lot.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot at your presentation. I think you made a fair point that since we're working with open source tools and things are in the web, there's a lot of freedom to innovate. Like you can basically do whatever you want. It's always going to be harder to do whatever you want. So using the things that we already provide to you, like FastStore API and the structures that we already have, will be easier. But sometimes easy isn't enough. So just like in the case of the Slugify function that isn't exactly working as you wanted, or in this case where you wanted to differentiate pages, we'll help you through the community. But yeah, we're at a point where we need to prioritize some of the features so that this can be expanded to more and more customers. And if you want to look at that problem, we'll really appreciate both the Slugify situation and like if you want to share your own idea of how to solve that and include it as a contribution to Base Store, that would be awesome. I don't even know like how usually you would want to differentiate, right? Is that a case of like some of the categories or is it all categories? So that's something worth discussing, right? And should that content come from your CMS? Like, do you want to have a special banner for specific categories or not? So everything should come from that performance standpoint, like you said, but also like we're eager to see what your ideas are. Like, what did you want to see there, right? And I see Homel is watching us, and Homel, thanks for recognizing. And we'll get back to you, of course, with the written version, because the nice thing about the community questions and answers is that it becomes documentation, right, Vito?
Yes, exactly. And you all can chip in, right? So like maybe someone from another agency already implemented this, and I'm just not aware. So like you can share your knowledge and everything. So yeah, like the community is very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah,
it's great to have everything documented there. And oh yeah, and one very simple use case that you touched upon, and everyone can try it out as well. And this one is a bit more strict, but like if you want to customize like a specific category, this should be easier because as we follow the Gatsby, like the Gatsby file system route API, you can just like define exactly like I don't know, office/desks, and then like just have that desk.tsx, and that's the exact page that you're gonna have. So you have that like granular control. You can use wildcards. There's a lot of There are a lot of options. I really recommend everyone to read this reference, the creating routes, um, and the file system route API one. Like they're great, and I encourage you to try things out, experiment.
Dive deeper, right?
Yeah,
Makes sense. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Vito. Let's keep going with the rest of the stuff we have for the team.
awesome. Thanks, George. Okay, so that was the last question, actually. So we don't have any more questions for today. And just a reminder, every time you create a new question on the VTEX community, please don't forget to add the office hours tag to your question, so that it makes it much easier for us to like scan for the questions that people want to be brought to the office hours. So like it lets us know that, oh, okay, we can answer this in the office hours, and it will be pretty cool. So always create your questions and tag them with the office hours in the text community. Okay, thanks. And finally, the demo. This is the last section. This is where we usually would have someone from our team or from the community showing you something really cool. But yeah, as I said, this week we're a bit slow. We're getting back to it. So no, we're not gonna have any demos for today. But expect at least one for next week. And here's an invite to you. If you want to present in our demos, you're more than invited to do so. You just have to fill in this form that you can find at community.vtex.com/office hours beta. You just fill out the form. It's pretty quick. And maybe you will be here next week or sometime in the future to show us what you've been working on and what you want to share with the community. Okay, so again, more than invited. We would love to have you. Okay, so that's all for today. Hope you had a great time, and we'll see you all next week. Just remember, just a reminder again. Next week the event will be in Portuguese. Okay, and don't hesitate to send us feedback on this as we're still trying it. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next week. Bye.